If you spend enough time on the firing line, you know there are revolvers that look pretty, and then there are revolvers built to survive the apocalypse. Ruger does not just build firearms. They build battlefield tanks that fit in a holster, and the GP100 is the undisputed king of that philosophy. But do not let the overbuilt steel frame fool you into thinking it is just a blunt instrument. There is some serious engineering history here. Most folks do not realize this American icon shares DNA with a French police service weapon, or that Smith & Wesson actually ran an ad campaign comparing this gun to a hamburger patty. Yeah, we are going there. Today we are taking a hard look at what makes the GP100 tick. We are going to break down exactly why it eats full house .357 Magnum loads for breakfast, while other wheel guns shake loose. We will look at the triple locking cylinder, the solid frame design, and why this thing is still relevant in a world dominated by polymer Wonder 9s. If you love heavy metal and recoil lock, then slide back and stay tuned. Section 1. The Security 6 Legacy. To understand where the GP100 came from, we have to look at the grandfather of the Ruger double-action family. Back in 1972, Ruger dropped the Security 6. This was their shot across the bow at the industry titans. You had the Smith & Wesson Model 19, the Model 66, and the high-dollar Colt Python dominating the law enforcement market. The Security 6 was Ruger saying we can build it stronger, and we can build it cheaper. Instead of using a side plate like everyone else, they went with a solid one-piece frame. It was tough enough to get picked up by the U.S. Border Patrol and plenty of beat cops. Ruger even got wild and chambered it in 9mm back when the world was married to the .38 Special. But here is the reality. The Security 6 was a workhorse, but it had a limit. It could handle .357 Magnum, but a steady diet of full-power flamethrowers would eventually take a toll. Ruger engineers knew that to beat Smith & Wesson at their own game, they did not just need a strong gun. They needed an indestructible one. Section 2. Enter the GP100. Fast forward to the early 80s. The mission was simple. Build a revolver capable of shooting unlimited .357 Magnum rounds without loosening up. In 1985, the GP100 hit the shelves. They beefed up everything. The frame got thicker. The top strap got heavier. They added a full underlug to the barrel, which is not just for looks. That extra weight out front helps tame the muzzle flip when you are running hot rounds. Shooters coming from the Security 6 realized immediately that this was a different animal. It felt substantial in the hand. Ruger also kept the transfer bar safety system. This is critical for modern carry. You can carry this gun with a full cylinder and drop it on the hammer, and it will not go bang unless that trigger is pulled all the way to the rear. Combined with durable coil springs and a modular trigger group, this was not just an upgrade. It was a statement of dominance. Section 3. The French Connection. Here is a piece of trivia you can use to win a bet at the gun shop. The GP100 has a European cousin. Back in the late 70s, French law enforcement needed a new sidearm. They loved the Magnum MR73, but that gun is built like a Swiss watch and costs a fortune. They needed something mass-producible. So they partnered with Ruger. The result was the Magnum Special Police and later the MR88. It was a hybrid using Ruger frames and guts mixed with French barrels and cylinders. While the French were refining the Security 6 lineage for police work, Ruger went the other direction for the American market. They scaled up. They used their investment casting process to pour a massive solid steel frame that did not cost an arm and a leg to machine. So while the MR88 and the GP100 are technically related, the GP100 is the one that hit the gym and started chugging protein shakes. Section 4. The Triple Locking Cylinder. Let's talk mechanics. You hear the term triple locking cylinder thrown around, but on the GP100, it is the secret sauce. Most revolvers lock up at the rear and maybe the end of the ejector rod. Ruger decided that was not enough for the pressures they wanted to handle. They locked the cylinder into the frame at the front, the rear, and the bottom. This keeps that cylinder perfectly aligned with the forcing cone shot after shot. Now, if you pick one up and wiggle the cylinder, you might feel a tiny bit of play. Do not freak out. That is intentional. Ruger engineered a slight amount of float to allow the bullet to center itself as it enters the barrel. It is a self-correcting system that actually boosts reliability. Unlike the bank vault lockup of an old Colt that requires hand-fitting, the Ruger system is designed to work even when things get dirty or hot. It is the reason you can run thousands of rounds of the spicy stuff without timing issues. Section 5. The Burger War and Frame Strength. The biggest structural difference between a Ruger and a Smith & Wesson is the frame. Smith uses a side plate. They mill out a hole in the side of the gun to drop the parts in, then cover it with a metal plate. Ruger says no thanks. The GP100 is a solid, continuous loop of steel. No side plate means no weak points where the frame could theoretically flex under massive pressure. Ruger bragged about this in their ads. Smith & Wesson actually clapped back with an ad showing a thick hamburger patty, basically calling the Ruger fat and bulky. They claimed their forged frames were strong enough without the extra weight. And sure, a Model 686 is a sleek machine, but the Ruger design has a massive advantage in maintenance. You can drop the entire trigger guard assembly out the bottom of the gun for cleaning. You do not need a screwdriver and a prayer to clean the internals. It is modular, it is simple, and it is tough as nails. Section 6. The Grip Peg Advantage. Another stroke of genius is the grip peg. Traditional revolvers have a metal strap that dictates the shape of your grip. If you have small hands or massive mitts, you are limited by that steel backstrap. Ruger replaced that with a simple stub or peg sticking off the frame. This means the grip itself determines the shape, not the metal. You can throw on a compact rubber grip for concealed carry or a massive target wood stock for the range. It absorbs recoil better because there is more cushioning material between your hand and the steel. Plus, it leaves more metal in the frame structure itself. It is just another example of function over form. Section 7. Not just a 357. While the 357 Magnum is the bread and butter, the GP100 is a versatile platform. Ruger has chambered this thing in just about everything. You can get it in 327 Federal Magnum, which gives you 7 shots instead of 6. That is a serious sleeper caliber. They make a 5-shot version in 44 Special for the big bore fans. They even have a 10-shot 22 long rifle version, which is arguably the ultimate training tool. And for the semi-auto guys, there is the 10mm auto version. It uses moon clips to hold the rimless cartridges. If you are already stocking 10mm for your Glock or 1911, this is a perfect companion gun. The strength of the GP100 action handles the snap of the 10mm without breaking a sweat. Section 8. The Verdict on Aesthetics. Let's be real about the looks. The GP100 is polarizing. It is blocky. It has that massive underlug and the thick top strap. It does not have the elegant lines of a Python or the classic profile of a K-frame. Some guys think it looks like a brick with a trigger. Others, myself included, think it looks like a tool that means business. Ruger kept some of the service revolver vibes from the 70s, and the original rubber grips with the wood inserts are a love it or hate it feature. But here is the bottom line. This gun was not built to sit in a glass case. It was built to work. It was built to ride in a holster on a hip through the rain and mud. It was built to protect your life when the chips are down. And in that department, pretty does not matter. Performance does. If you enjoyed this deep dive into American steel, smash that like button and subscribe for more honest reviews. Drop a comment below. Are you Team Ruger or Team Smith? I want to hear about it. Until next time, stay safe and keep shooting.